Advocate lady that I've been speaking with. It's been about a month. We still don't have anything turned in. We did call the hospital. They fucked around with us for over a week. People telling us they were going to call us back and didn't. Told us to call somebody else back who didn't. That other person, when we got to call them back, they say, oh, that other person didn't get a hold of you? No, Gina didn't get back a hold of us. We had to call her back. And that Betty or Becky lady, no, she didn't get back a hold of us. We had to get a hold of her back. And then Gina, after playing fucking retarded through the entire goddamn call, what did she do? Oh, we invested ourselves and decided it didn't happen exactly how he said it. Really? Well, how I said it was this. That I was physically assaulted by a fucking doctor. And their cameras prove it. Anything other than that, no matter what excuses they make or what claims that they make, their cameras show that there was no physical altercation from me. That I was being assaulted. Assaulted by a fucking doctor. Now we got to make a whole bunch of calls. Here's the thing, is that last week there was a couple of days that she was going to try to help me and she wasn't able to, which it happens. And of course this week there was 3 or 4 days that she was going to help me and didn't. The problem is it's her personal problems. It's not some horrible thing. It's not like she's an evil person for not coming through, but she's not coming through. But also, she did take time off from physical therapy because she wasn't able to keep her word on the other days. And she did help me. She said it's not something that's extremely important. You're more important than just one physical therapy appointment. I can go to more. So I'm grateful. But also we're moving at a snail's pace. And that's the problem, is that, you know, my instructions are to go to a friend or family member and turn it in right away. And then the protocol is to, for any of these places, to call social services, and social services is supposed to get a police officer to go there, and we're all supposed to meet up. That's how it's supposed to work. Instead, they pawn me off one place to another, back and forth, back and forth. Then they'll just stand around me. I don't get to show them the evidence. They just stand around me and fucking bully me. Like, what the fuck is this bullshit about? Yes, these people and their friends will fucking bully you for trying to turn them in, just like fucking high school bullies or fucking gang members. Rule number 1 when you're homeless is you don't go to the fucking cops. They're not your friends. There are exceptions to this rule. If you've got tits, that's an exception to the rule. If you're a female, you're allowed to go to the cops, depending on the situation. I know a lot of guys who are real pissed off because their wife or ex-wife fucking told on them for assault. And they got charged with assault, and they got to spend time in prison for assault. And you know what? If those females had not misled the situation with me, things could have turned out differently. Tammy Mensher, for example. Tammy Mensher, if she hadn't made the excuses that she did for Christopher Tapp, because she was trying to get him to be the father to his fucking kid. But she misrepresented the situation. And as a result, well, as far as I knew about the situation, with both of them fucking bitching at me trying to mind my fucking business, well, they're both making it my business. By the time Tammy Mensher had told me about what was going on with her and Christopher Tapp, that she had lied to me because she was trying to keep the peace with Christopher Tapp. Well, because she had misled me to believe that the whole thing about him assaulting her was bullshit. When he assaulted me, I didn't fucking see it coming. When he got drunk, I could see that something was coming. But I had to just take the assault, and I had to be afraid to go to police. This is somebody who was supposed to help me. But I didn't have the ability to record it. And everybody that I was reaching out to for help, I mean, fuck, look at the way they treated me. Before Natalie was killed, for an entire year before she was killed, I went to my friends and I went to my family for help. Going to my older brother for help was pretty much fucking useless. He couldn't stay off the goddamn meth. No, I didn't want to see him with him all fucked up on meth. What the fuck is going on with my car? With my new advocate, she means well, but she's making a lot of the same mistakes as others. There's also a lot of things that she's doing that other people didn't. These phone calls are pretty important, but they need to be done quickly. We can't just make one phone call a day and wait on it. Or one phone call every other day. And so, the last time I went there, when she canceled her appointment, we did make more than one phone call, and we did record them. Now, one of the things is that there's some of her personal issues that prevent her from doing certain things, or she'll have to cancel an appointment. And when she does, I'm stuck out here. I have to be afraid every moment that I am stuck in public. I am petrified. I am petrified that if I try to work on this somewhere and actually sit down and get fucking into it, I'm going to be asked to leave, possibly even by the cops because I've stayed there too long. That's the problem with forcing somebody into public and then believing that they can do all this magic shit from public. Now, this lady says that she understands, and from some of the stuff that she exhibits, I do believe that she has some of the issues that I do, and as a result, she's capable of understanding. But I don't so much believe that she does understand in the fact that she doesn't push the safety issue that I'm in because of this, and we're not calling the right places. She wanted to turn the abuse at the hospital into the hospital. Now that's something where at least we have, 6 or 7 recordings from the hospital where they're sending us around in circles and telling us somebody else's job and somebody else is going to call us back, and those people just don't. We have to call back. But we can't just wait on them to call. The other thing that my advocate lady was afraid of is that if she calls too much, trying to find out what's going on, that she's going to, that they're going to accuse her of harassing them. What they're doing is withholding evidence and helping their doctors get away. Now, at this point, they're committing felonies. The fact that the hospital staff were recorded saying the things that they've said shows that they're trying to hide those felonies and committing felonies by doing so. When you are going to commit felonies to cover up an assault committed against an at-risk adult, you are a special kind of fucking piece of shit. Now, there's a lot of stuff, like with this new advocate lady, just like any other time, I have to start off brand new, and I'm going to have to deal with her making probably 400 suggestions of things that I've already done, 400 suggestions of people other than her who have made those same exact suggestions. And when I need to explain to her why it is those suggestions don't work, I am telling her literally the crimes that were committed against me and how people were able to get away with them. I'm trying to explain to her, and a lot of times, like when I'm explaining something to her, she'll tell me I told her already. And it's not that I forgot that I told her, is that there's a point to it. When I tried to do this, right? Let's say, like, for example, what's the suggestion? Yes, when people say things, and this isn't something the new advocacy lady has asked me because she's already well aware. I've spoken about the fact I've gone to police report repeatedly, and I have recorded it. But when you've got 400 people all telling you to go to the police, and you are victimized because you're a disabled and homeless male, when you go to the police, you can't do it alone, and then they want to tell you that you have to do it alone. Well, that doesn't work. When you are called mentally ill, you're not supposed to go in alone. You're not allowed to go in alone. And they can do whatever they want and sell whatever fucking narrative they want if you go in alone, whether you're called mentally ill or not. Now, on the one hand, yes, the cops absolutely slandered all these people who I had gone to for help, and myself by saying that I never went to get help. They also slandered all these people by claiming that they wouldn't help me. They were trying to. I was getting cut off by fucking law enforcement. They kept on breaking the fucking law because I was stuck trying to turn it in alone. They kept on fucking lying to the public, lying to the fucking media, assaulting me and pressing charges against me for assault. I'm not a physically violent fucking person. When I tried to get help from Joanna Taylor Smith, she said that she would help me. Instead, she got into an argument with her boyfriend, and he treated me like shit for 3 days and then assaulted me. You think his mom's going to help me turn him in for assault? You think his girlfriend's going to help me turn him in for assault? No. Meanwhile, that's just another example of me being fucking punished over shit that has nothing to fucking do with me. And you want to tell me, oh, Sean, you never tried to get help. No, I did try to get help. When Natalie came into my fucking life, I really needed fucking help. My friends had victimized me out of every goddamn thing I had. You know why? Because they were fucking junkies. And even though I went to my friends and family for help, I went to the folks at Starbucks who claimed they were my friends. What they did, their empty promises and their empty words over and over again, they were a heavy fucking contribution to me attempting to kill myself in their fucking bathroom. That's what Natalie saved me from. It wasn't saving me from anything, was it? She gave me something that not one of you ever did. True hope. Hoped that somebody would recognize the hell that I was living in and that I needed more than just pretty fucking words to get me out of it. You advising me to ignore all of the abuse that I endure. How the fuck does that help, you pieces of shit? The thing is that this advocate lady, with what she's seen already, she's seen enough to explain to them that there is no possible way that I could have ever defended myself. I was never going to be allowed to defend myself. With what she's already seen, she should be able to call these places and say, hey, nobody could possibly do this, especially in the conditions he's living in. Now, she gets overwhelmed. I understand I get overwhelmed. So when I send her stuff, she says, I've sent her too much. Oh my God, if I only send her that stuff and we only get at it at this pace, we'll have been dead for 200 years before we make any progress. See, when I made my phone calls, I'd call 10, 15 places in a fucking day. It wasn't, all right, well, we'll make a phone call. They tell us 4 other places to call. We'll call maybe 1 or 2 of them. No, I made a lot of fucking calls when I had the ability to do so privately. When I had the ability to try to protect these people's lives, their families. But I'm not going to do so at the expense of my life, my loved ones' lives, and their families. If it was just my life, it wouldn't matter. I'd be fine with it. I needed help stopping abuse before Natalie was killed. What I'm trying to do now is play catch up with a lady who really doesn't have time. And her disabilities prevent her from being able to help me because she has fucking panic attacks too. And she has to take a break and she needs to walk away. And a lot of times she's got something that she needs to say. One thing that's real important about when you're helping a victim is not to make it about you. And she says, well, you don't have a support network and I do. So I'm not going to make it about me. But also it's human nature, isn't it? When you are informing me of something because you're going to be unable to comply with what you said that you were going to, when you are unable to keep your word, and you tell me your reason for being unable to keep your word, yes, I am glad that you informed me and let me know that instead of blowing me off for fucking 2 weeks, 6 months, 6 years. Between her and Dragon May Porter, or sorry, not Dragon May Porter, fuck it, we'll just call her Miss Dragon. Miss Porter, actually, is probably a better name. If I say Miss Dragon, you might think that I'm talking about some fantasy dragon that I'm having conversations with. You might pretend like I think I'm Eddie Murphy and I'm dating a fucking dinosaur in the Shrek movie. See, that's how you push people to suicide, when they come to you for help. When they come to you for help, how do you treat them? Do you talk about yourself nonstop? My fears of the police are valid, and this lady definitely has seen enough evidence to know that. But she also can't see very much. We have to try to do it in a way that it's not going to interrupt her life too much too, you know? When you're a poor person and you don't own your own property, then you have to fill out fucking Roman rental agreements that prevent you from being able to help your friends and family if they're in need. $14 days total. 14 days. Now, the first 6 days that I was there, and I was there for a total of 7, about the first 6 days that I was there, well, a lot of people want to tell me or fill me in on their background and make it real vague, but they want to keep on reminding me of their background. Well, that's all right. But when you've told me about your background already, well, then can we focus on me and actually helping me, actually finding out what's going on? A lot of people want to push me to do things that are against my best interest and quite expensive. But if I don't do those things, they won't help me. But if I don't have the money to do those things, I can't do those things. But then, of course, there's somebody else who has something else that they want me to do. And of course, when I finally do get paid, I have to wait for that money to come in, and I can't pay for both of those. I can't even pay for myself to survive. When I'm abused, I don't have a friend or family member who cares that I'm abused. I went to my friends and family members when I was abused. Look what they did to me. They took advantage of me. They blew me off. They ignored me. They wanted to pretend that because I'm speaking out about being abused, that I'm being negative. No, Susan May Dragon Porter is not a good person. We were never friends, and she proved it and she showed it. Now, one of the other things is that this lady who was going to help me, trying to get her familiar with it when she's busy asking questions. First of all of you, the questions that you're going to ask me, I've heard 1,000 times. They're going to be answered. You just need to shut up. You need to shut up and let me explain it. If you can't shut up and let me explain it, and you want to ask questions that are all over the timeline, then you want to tell me that you're fucking confused. Well, that's because you wouldn't shut up and let me tell you from the start. Or you want to say, what do we need to focus on first? Well, we need to focus first on what's happened to me, which means you need to listen. Is listening that difficult? And then there's the sheer number of people that are dead because you just wouldn't listen. You were too busy giving advice or treating me like shit because your shitty fucking advice wasn't followed. I don't have the fucking money to do what you want. Yeah, I'm not going to do what you want. I'm not a shitty person because you expect me to jump through $10,000 worth of hoops for you to just, in the end, do what? Pretend I didn't try because you didn't try with me. What the fuck kind of screwy pieces of shit are you? Let's see if we can get this thing running properly. With my advocate, she's also canceled more days than I care to count. And it's really important because then I'm stuck out here. The longer it takes to get this shit done, the longer I am stuck out here. And that's what not one of my friends gives a shit about. This is not standard homelessness. I can't go see my loved ones. All these people who claim to be my friends, claim to be my loved ones. Does it hurt them at all that they can't see me? No, because they have friends they can see. They're not stuck in a fucking vehicle in a town full of fucking strangers taking more fucking abuse. They never cared about me. That is not the same as me never trying. And right now with my advocate lady, with her saying she understands my anxieties, and she kind of does. But also, I'm trying real hard to understand her anxieties, and her anxieties are cutting me off. That's the problem with having to go to people with their own trauma. That's the problem with going to people who say that they'll help, but they don't actually have the time. That's the problem with people expecting you to jump through hoops. And then once you've jumped through those hoops, Then they're willing to listen a little bit, and then they realize how much they fucked up in forcing you to jump through those hoops. I didn't jump through none of these hoops because I fucking wanted to. I jumped through them because I had to jump through them to get help. Now where's the fucking help? We can try doing the three-way phone call. Yes, we can try that. But that's the problem, is that when we're abused, it doesn't matter if I go to somebody right away. We get a 6-month fucking runaround. The abuse that I endured in Tillamook made it so that I needed to fucking leave Tillamook. The only reason I'm staying in Tillamook is because that lady said that she would help me to turn this shit in. But it's very difficult when I'm not able to just sit down and explain it. Now, she's not a bad person. She has invested time. She's invested money in this, too. And that's something that a lot of people that I had my stuff there, and they said they would help me, and they said that my stuff was safe. It wasn't safe. So when this lady says I can have my stuff out there and that it's safe, well, I don't know that it's safe. I don't know that you're going to look through it or try to fight for my rights if I get arrested for being stuck in a fucking parking lot. If I want her help, I have to fucking stay here. And I have to hope that she's going to follow through. And I have to hope that even though it's taken 3 weeks to try to turn this shit in, almost a month now, actually, I have to hope that she's going to speak up about that where nobody else did. The police got away with pretending like I didn't try to get help because nobody tried fucking speaking up. Nobody tried helping me turn it in, ever. Nobody ever actually helped me to turn in these crimes. Nobody made that fucking effort. I needed a friend or family member who cared, not somebody who's going to fucking weekend warrior it and fucking procrastinate and make it take forever and a fucking day. It's not that I didn't tell every goddamn person that I know that I'm being fucking victimized and I need help. It's not like every goddamn piece of shit in Tillamook that I've told about it hasn't blown me off and brushed me off. Or helped my predators get away. Oh, they've absolutely done those things. These people say they'll help me. And then they don't help me. Their idea of help is not help. It prolongs my fucking agony and does nothing about the fucking safety issues. Now I gotta drive with a bunch of fucking fog on my goddamn windows. I don't want to fucking do this. I gotta go park in a parking lot where you're not allowed to park overnight. I have nowhere to fucking go! Why? Because I don't fucking matter. Most of the women that I know are not oppressed. They're oppressive. They were taught that it's okay for them to do that. They were taught how to fucking manipulate. It didn't matter about the fucking evidence. What it mattered about was fucking popularity. When you're different, people just assume that everything is your fucking fault. You're weird. So you must be a creeper or a fucking rapist because you're weird. That's how you fucking treat us. It's not fucking okay. But I'm telling you something, all right? There is a sequence of events and a reason I'm telling you. When you repeatedly interrupt me to talk over me or ask questions or tell me to do something or ask me if I've done something, how about you wait and listen? The more you interrupt, the more afraid I am to even speak. Because your questions show that you are getting completely confused. You're confused because you have no visual reference because you're not fucking looking. Then, of course, like with all disabled people that I have to fucking deal with, I have to deal with their time schedule. I am fine with that. I have to deal with them rescheduling. I am fine with that. I am fine with rescheduling. What I am not fine with is for people, when I'm trying to explain my disability so they can understand it, being talked over or talked down to like I'm a fucking dog, and then I am expected to stop and understand their disabilities. I do understand your disabilities. I do understand. I can feel when we're working on a situation and you tell me that you have anxiety, yes, I can totally feel anxiety at that moment because I know that what we were going to do isn't going to get done because you have anxiety. That I can understand. Absolutely. What you aren't understanding is that by not being able to follow through, that you are not being helpful. It's not that you didn't intend it. It's not that you intended anything harmful. It's that the longer this takes, the more harm is done. I'm supposed to go to a friend or family member and we're supposed to turn it into the police right away. Now here's the thing, I can show them the fucking evidence right away, except that I have to record the police so that they don't fucking abuse me! You motherfuckers! Now the problem with this lady is that she's not understanding that, yeah, I do actually have anxiety from abuse. She says that she understands it. I explained to her that I can't function being stuck out here like this, that there's a severe safety risk. She agrees that there's a severe safety risk, but when we make the phone calls, we're calling the wrong places, and she's not explaining that there's a safety risk, or why. Which is why I tried to get her to look at evidence, which she didn't want to at the beginning, and now if I send it to her, if I send her too much at a time, she asks me to stop. It's a little too much at one time. Like yesterday. Yesterday, she said, hey, you sent me too much. She had to cancel on me yesterday, by the way. And she had to cancel on me again today, by the way. But at least she told me. At least she didn't fucking ignore me all goddamn day. And then go out of her way to not understand why I'm frustrated. I mean, this lady does understand quite a bit. What she's not understanding is the severity of this emergency and the fact that the things that I'm afraid of are very likely to happen again. The longer it takes to turn these things in, the more likely it is that these predators are going to be allowed to press false charges. They won't need any evidence, and I'll have my evidence taken, or I'm not going to be able or allowed to contact anybody. And that will very much fucking suck for me, because I have no way, if I am denied my rights and locked up, to get access to the evidence that shows that I'm being retaliated against for speaking up. I'm stuck out here until people actually speak up about how inhumane it is. I am forced to do desperate things to try to get heard because, yes, you may have good intentions, but we need to fucking get on it. If you can recognize, just from what you've seen already, that I am in an unsafe situation, then you need to speak up about that. You need to explain that I am in an unsafe situation. If I say it, I get treated like I'm nuts. I will show you any and all evidence that you need. The problem is that when you are having me run around in 10 different directions doing 10 different things, and I've got 10 other people who want to send me in 10 different directions to do 10 different things, well, now your OCD is getting to the best of me, all right? Your OCD is overwhelming me because I can't do all of the things that you're asking all at once. It's like dealing with Veronica Randall, expecting me to magic up my W-2s on the very day she wants it. She thought I could just walk into the Cheesecake Factory and that they would just give me my W-2s. I already knew that wasn't going to happen. But because she was hounding me, I went in, didn't I? Of course I did. They told me that I couldn't do so until Jesse was there. And Jesse wasn't there. Jesse's the manager, of course. I have to wait for the fucking manager. But you know what? Veronica Randall did not try to understand that. I tried to explain it to her. She did not care. What she cared about is that she wanted to fucking snap at me and be angry because I wasn't able to do what she wanted right when she wanted. Like, who the hell taught her that? Who taught her that if she is absolutely demanding of somebody who is incapable of doing what she is asking, that somehow magically that person will be able to do so? It's kind of like you go down to the post office, right? And you check the post office, and there's nothing there. And you were literally just there 5 minutes ago, and you've got somebody who wants to yell at you because you need to go check the post office. You say, I just checked it. But you go back because they ask you to. You spend the time and the gas and the money to get there and do what they ask, for you to go there and check again. And when you go and check again, they treat you like you're a fucking liar because they didn't go with you. Hello. It's complete and total insanity. Who taught her that? You tell me to go to my friends. When I'm being abused, I'm supposed to go to my abusers and tell them how I feel. Well, you know what? Neglect is abuse too. It isn't abuse that leads to suicide, it's neglect. It wasn't Natalie Bollinger and her friends stalking me that pushed me to suicide. Because they could have been stopped. Somebody could have done something about it other than blow me off and tell me to do 10,000 other things other than what needs to be done. I go to my friends or family when I am abused and we turn it in right away. Not argue about it for 6 fucking years, you fucking twats. With this advocate lady, I don't believe that she's got ill intent. But she's definitely not able to understand a lot of these things because she gets overwhelmed so quickly and we have to take a break. I am understanding of the fact that she needs to take a break, and she's understanding of the fact that I need to take a break. But for the most part, my breaks are because there is too much and I've got time constraints. And the thing is, I mean, she can't possibly think that we're going to be able to do this with the time constraints and disability constraints that she has. She can help and assist, and if there's an issue, yeah, but what we need to be focused on is pointing out the fact that there is a definite, severe safety issue that has been caused by this situation with Natalie Bollinger. We can't ignore the Natalie Bollinger situation or the fact that that is why all of this abuse has fucking happened. Now, one morning, we had an appointment and she wasn't sure if she'd be able to do it or not. She said if she woke up early enough, and she didn't wake up early enough. Now, of course, did I throw a tantrum all fucking day? Did I go breaking windows and threatening to kill people and creepy shit like that? Fuck no. There's a lot of predators that, well, because they're tyrants, I have the Second Amendment right to fucking shoot them. I have the Second Amendment right to shoot them in defense of my First Amendment rights, which have been completely fucking denied. But I'm against killing. Imagine that. You know, with all the threats against my life and all these people that I showed the fucking threats over and over again, help me turn it in. When I go to turn it into the fucking cops, I'm fucking victimized because that's how men are treated in America. For an entire year before Natalie got her fucking brains blown out, I went to my friends and family for help. All right, not my family. I did try going to my older brother, but he was so fucking messed out of his gourd, I didn't even want to go see him. I had people tell me right off the bat, dude, your brother is fucking messed out of his gourd. He's down there by the fucking creek screaming at the top of his lungs, goddamn everybody, get the fuck away from him and all that. All right, well, I don't feel like being at the fucking shitty end of my older brother throwing a fucking tantrum like a fucking 5-year-old. How do you like that? How do you like it when I say those things to you? You're acting like a 5-year-old. The problem is, the term mentally ill is used to harm innocent people every day. Innocent homeless people. They're depressed because they're living in hell because they're homeless. They can't even fucking put up a camp. They can't even congregate with like-minded people because you will bulldoze their camp or light it on fire. Most of us were victimized by pedophiles and rapists growing up. And as adults, people weren't any better to us. We grew up in the system and got dropped off with shit. And then you drop off pedophiles and rapists with us. And then you tell us we have to be nice to them. And then you treat all of us like we're pedophiles and rapists. There is nothing more disgusting in the world right now than being an American. There is nothing more shameful in the world right now than being an American. And it sucks because I'm an American. I'm told what I owe soldiers. Really? I don't owe them nothing. They're not fighting for my rights. I'm fighting for theirs. Not soldiers' rights, but human rights. Tomorrow's Friday. I gotta hope that this lady is gonna help me. Hope. You know what keeps somebody from blowing their head off? Hope. You know what stops people from cutting their wrists? Hope. Why did that little girl cut on herself? It wasn't because her daddy was raping her. It's because her hope was gone. She went to her mother or her trusted adult like she was supposed to. And then when they did exactly what she was afraid they might do, the reason that she was afraid to come forward is because they might blow her off or talk over her or tell her she just needs to let it go instead of doing something about it. Or treat them like they must be making it up. Oh, that person would never do that. Are you sure? That little girl didn't cut on herself because Daddy raped her. Daddy did rape her. She cut on herself when she went to her trusted adult and that person showed that they did not care. And for boys, it's different. For boys, we just fucking kill ourselves. We try to get help. We already know that nobody's gonna fucking help us. Some of us are stupid enough to try. And when we try, you victimize the living fuck out of us. How many men have been victimized into suicide by false accusations? How many? My friends list is getting real small. Thank goodness. But it's not getting small fast enough. I had 350 friends on my Facebook list. Facebook friends list right before Natalie died. I knew all but one. Now I don't know hardly any of them. It's a bunch of fucking wingnuts that wanted to play fucking head games they had no intention of ever fucking helping. If you're going to hide your face and you're going to hide your name and you're not going to come forward with me, you're making me go in alone, and I will be harmed if I have to go in alone. That is the way of things. I'm not a human being to the court. I'm not a human being to law enforcement. I'm not a human being to the American public. They've got too many bias. They'll just make excuses for anybody who hurts me. Oh, he must have deserved it. He must be a child molester. He must be a rapist. He must be a murderer. You know, all those people are junkies, right? And what do my predators play on? They play on the fact that you guys are dumb enough to fucking believe that shit. You really believe that every person out on the streets is a fucking junkie and no junkie lives in houses? No, all the drugs those fucking junkies on the streets are getting come from people in houses. All of it. You say we need to feel sorry for the addicts. No, the fuck we don't. I feel sorry for the addicts. And I help the addicts. But I definitely do not recommend you do so. Matter of fact, I recommend you take a page out of this here book and realize that the best thing that you can do is let that junkie overdose and die. All they're going to do is manipulate you out of everything that you've got and slander you to everybody that you know. It's sad because they probably came from a fucking shitty family that taught them that that's how you do things. It's a dog-eat-dog world. Your parents raped you, so it's okay for you to rape your kids kind of thing. It's a sick mentality. Your daddy beat on you and you turned out all right. No, the fuck you didn't. No, the fuck you didn't. You're a fucking Nazi piece of shit. You learn that might makes right. You learn that once you're big enough to dominate somebody, that's what you should do. Well, your dad was a piece of shit for teaching you that, and you're a piece of shit for following through. You fucking dumb cunts. Now, for me, I gotta trust this lady who's a stranger, and I don't trust anyone. I've got my stuff over at her place because she says it's safe there, but Tabitha Michelle Cook said that my stuff would be safe at her place. It wasn't, because she wasn't safe. Mentally, yeah, she was willing to let a lot of people do harmful things. She let people do harmful things to her own children while I was there. Like Joshua Eichelberger with his constant abuse of everybody in the house. No, he wasn't hitting them. Well, that's not true. Tabitha's second oldest daughter was assaulted by Joshua Eichelberger while I was there. Graham told me about the assault. Sydney told me about the assault. By the way, she is an adult now, but she was not at the time. Tabitha knew about the assault. Why were they afraid to turn in the assault? Because Joshua Eichelberger wasn't supposed to be anywhere near his kids. There was a protection order against him because he was violent with them. Why did Tabitha Michelle Cook allow that violent man back into her life? Because she was lonely. She chose that man over her children's safety. Just as Rose M. Kelly chose abusive men over her own daughter's safety. Men who were not supposed to be around her children anymore. But Rose M. Kelly did not care. She did not care about her daughter's safety or well-being. What she cared about was getting some dick and not being alone. What she cared about was getting drunk and feeling sorry for herself. Well, here's the problem there. Natalie loved her mother. What would have been best for all of us is if Rose M. Kelly had drank herself to death. Instead of neglecting her fucking daughter or abusing her daughter for coming forward when she was abused. It would have been better for us if Ted Bollinger had overdosed on his drugs or died of drinking too goddamn much. Yes, that would have left Natalie and Alicia Bollinger without a father. But was he really a father? All these people who got to see what the Bollingers and their friends and family were doing to me. And not one of you ever tried to help me turn it in. You told me how wrong it is and how you're sorry. You told me to give it to God. Give it to God. God's not an attorney. God may be a witness, but how do I subpoena the SOB? Is God going to come down and tell the judge the truth? No, he's not. And neither are you cowards. I got to work with a lady who's trying to find everything out. And there's a rush status on this. We need to do this quickly because there is body camera evidence of abuse against me in Hood River that needs to be fucking requisitioned. And I need a place where I am not stuck out here doing this. Or stuck in a fucking McDonald's that I've already been told, hey, you can't hang out here. You can't hang out here. You can't hang out here. I don't want to hang out there. I don't want to be stuck in public. I don't want to be stuck being abused by ignorant motherfuckers. By hate mongers. 6 years of this shit is enough. It's going to take 6 years at this pace for this lady to be able to make a call and say, hey, Sean is in an unsafe situation. He has been abused. These things have been happening, and you are harming him by looking away. The police needed to do their fucking jobs. Now it's 100 times fucking harder because I had to go talk to him alone. Oh yeah, and I'm supposed to pretend that you're good people. That you actually care when you get a hold of me and say you'll help. No, you won't, you fucking cunt. You'll pretend to. See, this lady here, when she wasn't able to do so in person, at least she tried to make a fucking 3-way call with me. And she wasn't trying to go out of her way to make sure it wasn't recorded. She wasn't going out of her way to try to fucking change the story and misrepresent it afterwards. But the problem is that with many of these people, their own health issues prevent them from helping, prevent them from keeping their word. That is not my fault, and that is something that needs to be fucking mentioned. Otherwise, these assholes pretend that I didn't try to get help. Unless you come forward about the fact that I did try to get help. And those of you who want to be angry because I treated you like shit, you treated me like shit. It's fair and equal fucking treatment. When I needed help, you made every excuse not to. When you needed help, you got help immediately. That's the difference between you and me. You're pieces of shit and I'm not. You guys will tell me nice, pretty things. When you're negative, you're allowed to be negative. But you'll ignore anybody else who's negative. The rules are always different for you, aren't they? Of fucking course they are. You expect me to understand your disabilities, but you don't try to understand mine? Now this lady, at this pace, it's gonna take us for fucking ever, but at least she's not doing what you pieces of shit did.